It's finally arrived. Basketball season is here, folks, and the hype, the excitement from everybody that can be associated with this program, coaches, players, fans alike, is real. We've got game one under our belt, so I wanted to take a minute to celebrate that and maybe talk about a few of the takeaways that I have from this first game and what it could mean for the rest of the season. Welcome to the E2C network, where the Auburn family speaks. Our content here and on our podcast network may tend to be Auburn sports heavy, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you never miss any content. Thank you to our members of our booster club like Joe Rudolph, who help produce videos like this. Let me be clear, I love all things Auburn, but I have a very special place in my heart for basketball. It is the game that I love and just love to be a part of, whether it's talking about it, playing about it. It's just the complete thing for me. So I am hyped for this. And it's nice to actually enter a season where, as of right now, knock on wood, we have no allegations that are really going to keep us from competing in the postseason. We've got the talent here. It seems like things feel pretty good, Auburn fans, don't they? That's a little scary, let's be honest. But regardless of that, with the start of this new season, I do want to take a few minutes just to talk about some things that I saw in the first game and ask some questions, some takeaways that could expand over into the rest of the season. Also want to remind you to check out Inside the Jungle, which is our Auburn basketball podcast with Gray and Chris Oldenburg, the father-son dynamic, as they break down the Auburn basketball games this season. Without further ado, let's talk about takeaway number one, and I've already kind of addressed it, or at least alluded to it, the hype. It is real, and everyone is feeling it. Players, coaches, fans. The players, you can just see it in them. The way they're walking around, the way they're carrying themselves. Even those that can't even play right now, like Alan Flanagan, it's like they know something. You ever had like that joke that you're, the inside joke that you're on and nobody else is, and it kind of just makes you feel almost, not arrogant or anything like that, but just like you're in the know. The players, to me, seem to have that swagger, and they have in the offseason, but especially out there as well. Coach Pearl has been talking all offseason about how special this team is going to be, so he obviously knows something. And the fans, while we are excited and we feel like we know things, whether you're talking to people at the water cooler, on message boards, or just going out and seeing them play, whether it's been in practices or even this first game, the hype is real, and it seems to be somewhat validated. It's going to be interesting to see how this ebbs and flows throughout the season as the team figures out exactly who they are and how far they can go. Second takeaway is the offense identity. Now, when you're in your first game, you're obviously not going to have all the pieces together, and you're really going to do just kind of what you are best at. And Bruce Pearl offenses are known for being what I would call the fun and gun offense, where you don't really set up a lot in the half court. You try to, but you take advantage of your players' talents and skills, especially in the fast way that he likes to play. Saw that last night, obviously, and that's what increased the hype level of this game, because there was a lot of those fun dunks and fast breaks and things like that. But you even saw in the second half, Auburn slowed down a little bit in their offense and wasn't as efficient, and that's because I think some of that kind of initial excitement and hype had worn off a little bit. Be interesting to watch and see what happens throughout the season as the offense, and moreover, the half-court offense, takes shape and what that identity is going to look like. That will determine how successful this team can be going forward. Number 3 is Walker Kessler. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't like down or, not expecting much from Walker Kessler. It's not that. I just kind of was being cautiously optimistic about this guy. A lot of hype, and his freshman year, while it was pretty good at North Carolina, wasn't like outstanding in my opinion from what I recall. So I thought this is going to be a guy with a really big body, a widespread wingspan that can really make a difference, and boy, did he. Now, his stats last night in the first game, pretty modest, but he contributed in all facets of the game. Also, though, for the first time, I noticed players on the other team having to alter their drives way before they should have. And I'm not saying that we haven't had other players that could do that. Austin Wiley comes to mind especially. But Walker Kessler seemed to be wrecking havoc a little bit just by him standing there and sticking his arms out. He's going to be getting many blocks through the game. Again, this is another player I think as he goes, Auburn will go. Takeaway number 4, and it's the scariest one. It's a little bit of a reality check, and that's injuries. We saw during the first game 2 players go down just for a little bit of time, and as far as I know right now, they're both okay. That would be Jabari Smith, the absolute worst one that you could have Auburn fans see go down for any type of injury, even if it was for a cramp. And KD Johnson, probably number 2 in my opinion. Maybe Walker Kessler's up there as well. But 2 of your star premier transfers in, you saw go down and grab their legs or something like that, and you could just feel the panic in the room. Auburn fans were notorious for just kind of being, in that mindset that what can go wrong next. It always feels like that, doesn't it? I think we would all agree. And I think that's a little bit of reality check for everybody. Don't panic. Now, you don't want to see 2 of your stars get injured in the same game, but at the same time, I could just feel the panic ensuing amongst the Auburn family. And I'll admit, I probably had a little bit of that myself. Injuries are going to happen. The question is how many, how often, and to what extent. I think this team is talented enough where there might be a little bit of drop-off and some changes that have to be made to make the team the most successful in that case. But I don't think that we're at a position where that's really going to wreck us at this point. Number 5, it's the point guard position, and more specifically, Wendell Green. I've said for the last couple of seasons, as the point guard position goes, so will Auburn go, and that seems to be the case. Here's the thing with Wendell Green. He's a very interesting player, and he kind of feels a little bit like Jared Harper, but I'll also say that he kind of feels like Sharife Cooper. So we almost could have found the perfect combination of the 2 last great point guards that we had. Jared Harper was overlooked. Nobody really wanted him. Bruce Pearl found a real diamond in the rough of that recruiting cycle. With Sharife Cooper, everybody wanted him. Everybody needed him. And he proved that even in a few games here at Auburn. But I think the thing about Wendell is he seems to have the experience, but also the talent as well. And I see a lot of Jared and I see a lot of Sharife in him. And I'm not going to say that he's going to be as great as both of those two, but what I saw in the first game from him, I really, really liked. Obviously, he's probably the player of the game, scored the most points, had the most assists. You expect that from your point guard. They should be high scoring in most cases, and at least in this type of offense. But I really liked what I saw out of Wendell Green. And if we can keep him healthy throughout the season and get good support for him, he could be the guy that we're talking about at the end of the year as probably the best player on the team. I know that's a bit of a step out with Jabari there, but let's just see how things track out. But those are my 5 takeaways for this first game and just kind of the start of the season. I want to know what you thought about either the game or just what you're thinking about as we begin basketball season for the Auburn Tigers. Let's keep that conversation going down in the comments section below. If you enjoy this content, please help support it by smashing that like button. And if you want more content from us, be sure to hit the subscribe along with the notification bell so you don't miss an upload or a live stream. There's ways that you can help support our content, like our videos, help them keep coming out. Check out the links in the description too. I'll call your attention to are becoming either a channel member here on YouTube, starts at $1 a month, or becoming a Booster Club member, which also starts at $1 a month, where you get some other perks and have other tiers. Check those links out along with the others. Thank you for tuning into the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks. War Eagle.